Hi again. In this video we'll see the object-oriented paradigm, and this will be split across multiple videos. So in this first video we're just going to see what programming paradigms are and which of them exist. So, programming paradigms. These are a way of organizing programming languages and their features, and they define how a program is written, how it's organized, how it's executed. And so it's a guiding principle on how a programming language works and how you will develop programs and solve problems with this paradigm and a specific language. So any programming language can be associated to more than one programming paradigm, and they mostly are, and they can be categorized into main groups: declarative and imperative paradigms. Declarative paradigms are a bit more math focused, and they describe what should be achieved, what should be computed, but they don't tell us how to do it. So for example, a system of equations, a system of constraints, of rules are declared, and then the execution system finds a way to obtain a result with them. A notable feature of declarative paradigm is that variables cannot be modified. So for example, like in mathematics, if you set x to 10, that would be its value throughout the program, and that cannot be set again. But you could declare, for example, a new variable x1 and set it to x times 2, for example. Its main paradigms would be the functional paradigm, which uses mostly mathematical expressions and tries to solve the equations generated by them. And an example would be the Haskell programming language. And the other main sub-paradigm would be the logical paradigm, which is based on the definition of logical rules and predicates that these rules must follow. And then we have a logical system in charge of evaluating whether something is true or not based on the rules and logic reasoning. And its main example would be the Prolog programming language. Then we also have the imperative paradigm, with which you will be most familiar, as is the one focused in CS1 and Python. It defines programs as a set of sequential steps or instructions, as you have seen, for example, print something, or if this happens, then that should happen, or while this condition holds, do this. And with that, we can solve a problem. The steps will change the state of the program. So, for example, you will have variables that have different values and whose value change throughout the execution. The main sub-paradigms in this case are the structure or procedural paradigm, in which we divide the code into procedures or functions, and we go through the procedures line by lines executing. And for example, C or Pascal are notable examples of this. And we also have the object-oriented programming paradigm, which is the one that will focus our attention in the following videos, which is based on grouping variables and operations into methods and classes, so that we can organize our knowledge and the way to operate on our knowledge into objects that have properties and operations. Notable examples of these would be Java and C++, and of course, Python. Of course, Python is a multi-paradigm language, and it features elements from many different paradigms. It has some functional elements, which we'll see at a later date. And you've, of course, already seen the structure elements with functions, if, while, and for constructions. And you also have the object-oriented paradigm, which will be the focus of the following slides and videos. In the object-oriented paradigm, we organize information around objects. So, objects are instances of a given type or class, and it can be used to store values. You have already seen a few, so for example, strings are objects, integers are objects, and the specific integers and strings we work with are the instances of those classes or types. We can also have operations or actions over these objects, and we can see, for example, in this example, that we can define a string in a variable and say s is equal to hello world, and then we can check the type or class to which this variable belongs. And we see that in this case it belongs to the class str or string in Python. We can also see an example of invoking a method or action with s.upper, This will be the syntax that we'll always use to invoke methods. The object on which a method will be invoked will be placed first, then a dot, then the name of the method, and then parentheses with the parameters, if any. And of course, we can see the result printed down below, which is the phrase hello world in uppercase. And I'll see you in the next video.